Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be breaking down how I created this animation from scratch all within After Effects, and this tutorial will contain a lot of secret techniques and tips that I use and you can do to create animations like these. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this tutorial and let's jump right into it. So first of all, this is how the animation is looking like within the timeline. And just to give you guys a bit of context, this animation is part of a very big project with lots of animation and effects. So if you guys want to see that, that will be available on my Discord server and you guys can ask me any question about it there. Okay, and to make things a bit more easier, I'm going to divide this whole animation into 3 scenes. So this is going to be our first scene which we are going to look at. Alright, now as you can see here, we have two objects. One is like a simple line stroke. If I solo this, as you can see, it's like a simple line. And the other object is this small ball. And if I go inside this ball composition, as you can see, the ball looks quite different here. And if I go inside this wiggle circles map, this is just a gradient map. And if you want to learn how I create this exact symbol, I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel which you can check it out. Alright, I have applied a simple choker effect on this, as you can see, to reduce the glow. Now the reason why this ball looks so different here is because of this rasterize option. As you can see the difference if I disable it. Alright, now if I play the animation, as you can see we have quite some motion here, but first we are going to break down all the design of this scene. So if I solo this, as you can see I have created a simple pulse. And how I created this morphing animation of line into square is this is just a square with Y rotation of 90 degrees. As you can see it's a 3D square and I just changed the Y rotation to 90 degrees so it looks like a flat line. And as soon as the ball hits, I have animated the Y rotation here, and if I show you the graph, this is how it looks like. So a very sharp graph. Alright, now what we are going to do is we are going to break down the background. So the background consists of two layers. First is like a simple gradient ramp here, and the second is like a grid effect. And the reason why it looks like this is because of this gradient ramp, as you can see the difference. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I created this portal. So first of all, let's see how I created this blue background. So I'm going to just solo this. And how I created this is because of two effects. So 4 color gradients, as you can see, and a turbulent space to break down the pattern. Now instead of masking this solid layer, what I did is I duplicated this square shape layer. As you can see, it's the same square, but what I did is I enabled the fill color here and I just alpha matted into it. So as you can see, it only appears at the square part. And then we have this clock which I downloaded it from FreePic, and the reason why it comes outside of the block is, as you can see, it is also matted to the same square shape layer, as you can see here if I enable it, but I have applied certain effects to it and I'm going to show you. Alright, so as you can see, it's the same shape layer. The first thing I did is apply the radial fast blur. If I change the point, it looks something like this. And next I applied a curves effect and crushed the levels quite a lot, as you can see here. So we only see the brightest part. And then I applied a red fill color so I can alpha matte into it. And now because we have increased the limit of the square shape layer, the clocks also comes outside. Alright, now the next thing we have here is this glass cube, and I'm going to show you how I created this. So if I go inside the glass cube composition, we have some shape layers here, and I created this custom glass cube. If you want to learn how I did this, I have a tutorial as well. And I'm going to show you how I created this glass look. So if I disable all the effects, I have this simple black shape layer, and first thing I applied is a CC light sweep effect, and then I applied these two effects to create a glassy look. And these two effects are preset inside After Effects. If you just write unmult, as you can see, this is the preset I applied, and then I pasted this effect into all the layers. Alright, now I'm going to show you how I morphed this square shape layer into a 3D cube. So if I go frame by frame here, as you can see, the cube here is flattened out. And how I did this is by animating the Z scale of the cube, as you can see here. Alright, now I'm going to show you how I animated the cube. Alright, so if I go up and I open these null layers, so these are the cube control null layers. So if I play the animation now, as you can see, I have animated the Y and Z rotation of the 3D cube with the null layers. And I'm going to show you the graph of this. So if I enable the graph, as you can see, it is a sharp graph, and similarly, the graph of this is relatively sharp. Okay, so the next thing we have here is the colored cube. If I solo this and I'm going to play the animation, and how I created this transition is like a simple opacity from 0 to 100. And if I open the comp, as you can see, it's the same cube but with a gradient fill on it, and I've applied a light sweep effect as well. And if I show you the 3D custom view, As you can see, it's the same cube, but I've applied a gradient fill to it, and I've applied it to all the layers. Alright, and similarly I have overlapped the keyframes to make the animation very smooth. Alright, now I'm gonna show you how I made the ball animation. So this is the last part of this scene. If I solo this, and this is the ball. So as you can see, the movement is quite a lot here and quite robust. So these are the null layers for the ball control, and I'm gonna solo all these, and I'm gonna click on one of the null layers to show you the animation path. And similarly with the second null layer, I have this path, and I'm gonna show you the graph. So we have a really sharp graph here, and similarly the graph is sharp in all of the null layers. And the reason why the ball animation looks so smooth is because of the overlapping, and with the last keyframes I have made the graph really sharp. So as you can see, this is the whole ball animation. And with this, our first scene is completely concluded, and this is how the animation is looking like. And at the end of the first scene, I did a mesh cut transition. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So first of all, I'm going to show you the graph of this. As you can see, it is very sharp, and this graph is for the cube. So the cube transforms into this shape layer. So here the rotation is something like this at the start, and then the Z rotation of this shape layer, the red shape layer, goes from this to completely horizontal. And this is how the first scene looks like. Alright, now diving into the second scene, I'm going to show you how I made this smiley face. So I have this red shape layer, and it is like an alpha inverted mat onto this green circle, which is just scaling in, nothing special. And similarly, if I solo these eyes and the smile as well, so this is the smiley face. And if I play the next part, this is the rings. So I'm going to show you how I created these. I'm going to solo the rings and the smiley face as well, and I'm going to play the animation, and I'm going to pause it somewhere around here. So the rings are simple shape layer with gradient fill on it, as you can see here, and I have applied a tint effect on it because everything is going to go red. So as you can see here, simple opacity transition. And how I created this parallax effect is very simple. So I changed the Z position of each ring by quite a lot, so we have a large difference. So we have a simple parallax effect here as well. And the camera animation is very interesting. So as you can see here, the camera is completely rotating. If I show you frame by frame, and how I did this is by animating the X rotation of the null layer, as you can see. Alright, now I'm going to show you the graph of this null layer as well. So if I open up the graph editor, as you can see, the peak is relatively sharp. And now I'm going to play the animation. So it looks something like this, and then the camera rotates. And now we have this spotlight animation. And how I created this spotlight is by creating a shape layer with gradient fill, and I have animated the mask of it. So I have masked the shape layer in this pattern, and I have applied a Gaussian blur to it. So if I disable the Gaussian blur, as you can see, it is very sharp, but we want a smooth look, so Gaussian blur does exactly that. So if I play the animation, this is how it looks like with the Gaussian blur, and I have applied a glow effect as well to brighten everything up, as you can see. Alright, now the next thing is the ring. And the interesting part about this is you don't see the ring behind the spotlight. And the way I did it is I duplicated the spotlight layer, and I changed the color to green, and I just alpha inverted matte the ring to the shape layer. So if I disable the matte, I'm going to show you. As you can see, the ring is visible behind the spotlight, but if I enable it, it is not visible. Alright, now the next thing we have is the graph animation. So if I solo this, and this is inside a pre-comp, I made this graph animation with just simple shape layer. If I play this, for some reason I don't see the white line, but let's just ignore it. So this is how the graph animation looks like, and I have matched the graph animation to the spotlight as well, as you can see here. And the reason I did it is because if I animate the position of the graph, then it's not gonna show outside of the spotlight, which looks really cool. Alright, now this is the second part completely done, and now we are gonna move on to the third part. So this is the third part of the animation, or the third scene, and this is how it looks like, and then it goes into the portal. Alright, now the first thing I have here is this rainbow bar. So I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna show you how I created this. So we have a simple stroke here, and then I have a pre-comp with this sword. So I'm gonna solo this, and I'm gonna go inside the pre-comp. Now before I show you this, I'm gonna go inside once more, and this is how the sword looks like, and I've animated it with a simple trim paths. So as you can see here, it goes down, And this is just a simple gradient fill stroke with this type of gradient. Okay, now I'm gonna go outside this pre-comp, and in this pre-comp I have a shatter effect. So if I play the animation, this is how the shatter looks like. And if you want to copy my settings, you can pause the video to see what I did. Basically, I just animated the radius from 0 to 0.29, which gives me a really cool shutter effect. And if I go into the main composition, one thing I did with this layer is I masked it out. So the reason I did it is, as you can see, there's a mask here. If I change the mask to none, and if I play the animation, as you can see, these shards go outside of the comp, and it looks really weird. So I put a mask which is smoothens this out. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the impact of the shape layer, and I'm gonna break it down one by one. So first we have the spotlight. If I solo this, as you can see, I have a simple opacity and path animation. And the next thing is this adjustment layer, and this adjustment layer creates the slash effect which you see in anime. So if I go here, as you can see, I have quite a lot of effects here, so I'm gonna break it down one by one. So first I have this invert effect. So this inverts the whole scene. And then I have this hue effect which gives a bit more color to the scene. And then the next effect is tint to make everything black and white. And then the curves effect to bring a bit more details back. If I show you the graph, this is how it looks like. And I just animated the opacity from 0 to 100. So this looks really good. And another thing is, on this shatter layer, I basically time remapped it. So if I press U on the keyboard, as you can see, we have this time remap. And if I show you the graph, as you can see, this is really sharp. So this is just to control the speed of the shatter. As you can see, this is really fast here. And if I go inside the pre-comp, this is very slow. So you can control the speed of the animation by just time remapping it. Okay, now the next part is the portal animation. Now before I show you how I created the portal, I'm gonna break down the camera animation. So if I press U, as you can see, we have a simple side animation with the text. And then the next layer is very unique. So I have all these keyframes, and the camera is basically rotating and going inside the portal. And if I play the animation again, as you can see, we have a simple zoom in the portal as well. So this is the zoom in. So just simple scale keyframes. And if I show you the graph, this is how it looks like. Okay, now as you can see, the Z rotation overlaps with the scale, and this gives the animation a very smooth look. If I play the animation, as you can see, with the zoom in, the Z rotation overlaps and it gives a really smooth look. Okay, now how I created this portal is, if I go inside this layer, is I have this gradient map. And if I just solo one of the layers to show you what it is I have this wiggle preset on this circle shape layer. If I play this, as you can see, it just wiggles with a certain amount of speed. And this preset is available inside After Effects as well. So this is the preset. Alright, and I applied this preset to all of the layers with random shapes. And right now this looks very sharp. So what I did is applied a fastbox blur to blur everything out. As you can see, it creates this really smooth. Okay, so now in the main pre-comp, there are quite a lot of layers for the portal, and I'm gonna break it down. So this is the first layer, and if I play this, so basically the layer is not animated, but what I did is I matted it with the shape layer which is animating. So if I solo the shape layer, and we don't see anything here because the shape layer color is purple as well. So I'm gonna drop a fill effect on it, and just to show you the animation, what I did basically is I animated the stroke width. So if I go somewhere around here, as you can see, the stroke thickens out. And if I change the stroke width, as you can see, I can control the animation similarly with the scale. And if I show you the graph, this is how it looks like. It is very simple, but trust me, it took me a lot of time to get there. Alright, and basically what I did is I just alpha matted this tunnel layer to the shape layer, so it is only present inside the shape layer. Okay, so now we are going to move on to the next layer, which is the tunnel 2, and it is blue in color. So what I did is, if I open the pre-comp, I made an adjustment layer and I dropped a hue / saturation effect, and I just changed the color. And similarly, like the previous tunnel, it is also matted with the stroke animation. So if I just solo all of these, and basically what I did is I just duplicated these tunnel mats a lot of time, and I just displaced the keyframe of the stroke animation. So it is going from 0 to whatever width, and it just displays, so it is going one by one. Alright, now if I play the animation, this is how it looks like. Now another thing I'm going to show you guys is at the start of the portal animation. So if you go around here, we have this main bar, right? And then it goes to something like this. So how I did this is the same way that I did the mats. So I basically increased the stroke width and increased the scale as well. So it is synced with the portal animation and it looks really clean. Similarly with this end white bar. So here I have a stroke which is increasing slowly. As you can see, I have animated the width and the scale, and it slowly zooms in to emphasize on the fact that the camera is zooming in slowly. So if I play the animation, you can see it in effect. And similarly with the camera animation, what I did is I just increased the scale very slowly. So it is not too fast, right? And to make everything 10 times better, I have added a deep glow on an adjustment layer. As you can see here, these are my settings, and if I disable it, you can see how much better it looks with the deep glow. As you can see, everything is dull here, and if I enable it, everything is much more vibrant. Just make sure the glow is not too much, and make sure to play around with the threshold. It really changes up your animation. And yeah, with this our whole animation breakdown is completed, and if I play the animation, this is how it's looking like. And again, this whole project is going to be available in my Discord server. This project is around 4 minutes long with tons of animations and creative sauce like this. And if you have any questions and you want details answer for it, you can join my Discord server and ask me there. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you with the next one.
Imagine investing hours in your favorite games, pouring your heart and soul into them, only to feel frustrated and unmotivated. Your efforts yield no financial returns, degrade your gaming experience, or even fully diminishing the experience. Sounds familiar? What if there was a solution to make your gaming time truly valuable?